Here we are more than 3 years since the final episode of Teen Wolf broadcast on TV, and I'm still seeing a lot of the same questions come up again and again. One such query is in regard to Stiles' game-changing move with the mountain ash at the end of Wolves of War. A lot of folks think Stiles should have turned to stone when the Anuk-Ite glanced his way during that final confrontation. I mean, up until this point, the Anuk-Ite had a perfect record of making statues out of everybody else who looked its way. How did Stiles avoid this Medusa effect? If you're enjoying these trips back to Beacon Hills, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll always know when new Teen Wolf content comes out. The Anuk-Ite was that skinned weasel-looking thing in Season 6 that could broadcast fear and turn people to stone with its eyes. But Scott figured out that because one of the two halves that created the Anuk-Ite was a werewolf, the combined creature is vulnerable to the same weaknesses as all other werewolves. So Scott tells Stiles to steal the jar of mountain ash that they'd seen in Gerard's supervillain trophy room at the armory. Can we just take a moment and appreciate the fact that Gerard had what amounted to a closet-sized supervillain trophy room? That guy. Anyway, steal the mountain ash, dump the mountain ash on the Anuk-Ite, and win the war. That's Scott's plan, and it worked. Yay, the good guys win. But for some fans, it seemed like a cheat because Stiles did get a face full of skinned weasel creature before the mountain ash started to work. So why didn't Stiles turn to stone? The easiest answer is that this is a plot hole. Jeff Davis needed Stiles to win, so he just wrote it that way. That's an easy explanation because we did see some plot-driven shortcuts over the years. Aiden's death comes to mind. But I don't see a plot hole with the Anuk-Ite. I mean, let's look at how its power worked previously on screen. The first time it was displayed was in the episode Genotype. The two halves had just combined when it ran across a couple of hunters. First, they seemed paralyzed by fear. The Anuk-Ite's eyes flash and they begin to turn to stone. The whole process takes a few seconds. We see this process repeated later at the hospital as the creature moves down the hall, but in these cases we only have its point of view, so we don't actually see what it's doing to cause this petrifying effect. The next time we see the whole process, it's with Peter, and it's the same. The eyes glow, rock forms. Jackson, eyes glow. And with Derek, the same thing with the eyes before he turns to stone. So knowing that the Anuk-Ite's eyes fire up before it turns someone to stone, let's look at what happened when Stiles runs in. There's none of that fired up eye glow, which makes it clear to me that the power wasn't engaged in time to affect Stiles. But let's say it was engaged. Even if that's true, I contend that there wasn't time for it to work before the creature was covered in mountain ash. Part of what adds to the confusion around this scene is the fact that they slowed it down for dramatic effect. If we speed it up to normal, you can see just how quickly this all went down. The creature did not fire up its eyes. It didn't have time to before the ash cloud was on it. Also, even if the power had begun to turn Stiles to stone, it wouldn't have had time to finish the process before the Anuk-Ite was neutralized. Then the process would have simply reversed as it did with all the other stone heroes, so Stiles would have been fine either way. Another complaint about this episode that I see often is that the mountain ash should have just formed a circle and trapped the creature inside the circle. That might have happened had the creature not been just one big, wet, exposed nerve. The ash literally stuck to its body and coated it completely, trapping it. As always, add your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching. Check out the channel for new Teen Wolf content every week.